Right, so I like to say Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and salutations to you brothers out there that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. I'm going to play this video real quick, and then we're going to get into some scriptures. So let's get it.
Massive layoffs at the LA Times. More than 20% of the newsroom staff is getting a pink slip as the paper announced at least 115 layoffs today.
Fox 11's Marla Tejas is here with this news. Really sad, really bad for LA.
Bad for democracy, right? So this is one of the biggest rounds of layoffs in the Los Angeles Times 142-year-old history. The paper itself reporting the massive cut of at least 115 employees. The owner, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, who bought that paper almost 6 years ago, says the cuts were necessary because the paper is losing 30 to 40 million a year. The economic downturn is being blamed on the proliferation of social media platforms that consumers now turn to for news and entertainment, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic, which cost millions in ad sales. Today's announcement comes after Guild workers walked off the job Friday for this one-day strike where they urged management to do the right thing and keep jobs.
And they've cut a lot of the fat that the LA Times had, and now they're cutting into the meat, and that's just going to be a pretty big problem in terms of journalism.
There is a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think it is tripled by the fact that the company's being very untransparent.
Well, this afternoon, the LA Times Guild released a really long statement saying, in part, today has been gutting. This is the LA Times statement. I'm going to give you the Guild statement. Well, I'll read you the LA Times statement since we have that up for you. The decision to proceed with layoffs was incredibly difficult and was made only after evaluating all other viable platforms. Let me just pick this up. Let's see. Platforms. The Los Angeles Times newsroom remains the largest in the West and one of the largest in the country, and our ambitious journalism will continue. And then I do want to read, just out of full transparency, to use her term here, the LA Times Guild statement. It said, in part, today has been gutting, but the Guild will not be deterred or intimidated. We will continue to fight for our members and the future of the Los Angeles Times. Now, more about those cuts. In particular, the Washington Bureau of Photography and Sports departments got cut dramatically. That includes award-winning photographers and also senior editors. The paper reports the video unit was entirely dismantled.
Right, so Salakia. So ultimately, you know, this is going to be happening in a lot of states, you know, from Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Phoenix. This is happening right now in Los Angeles, and it's going to be happening in a lot of other states as well, man. And a lot of cities where people are going to be getting laid off because there's just not enough work to keep people employed. There's not enough. And then with the GOP, you got the GOP going down, which is the gross, the GDP, Salakia, the GDP going down, which is the gross domestic product, which isn't, you know, really coming in for these companies, man. So, you know, with low supply, like with the construction sites that's going on here, also there's construction work that's going to slow down due to the lack of water. And there was actually a article that I sent to a brother not that long ago about the shortage of water that's in America today, and a lot of the construction that's going on right now. And this is why they're trying to get construction up as fast as they possibly can, because one, a lot of material they don't have for this construction to go up, and then the water supply is running low, so they don't have enough water to keep productivity with construction work going. So this is creating a problem, you know, within the workforce, and that's why you got people walking away from the workforce, or you got people getting laid off, getting fired, you know, or whatever. These things are taking place because we're coming into a heavy time of trouble. Not only that, but the scriptures do say that the grinding shall cease, and that's actually prophesied, man. So when we go into the book of let's get this real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 3, the scripture says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened." So let's go into this word grinder real quick. So when we go into the word grinder,
Strong's H2912. Tachan.
it means to grind, crush. When you're grinding, you could take something like metal and grind it together. And what do they do a lot of construction with? Metal, right? You could take when you're crushing something, like for an example, you could crush like grapes. You could crush grapes and cherries and things like that. That's a form of grinding, because if you crush grapes and cherries, you could sit them out for a period of time, and then you can also sell them, right? Sell it. The Strong's definition is to grind mill, hence to be a concubine that's been their employment, a grinder. And so that's what's happening right now, is that people are losing their jobs because there's not a lot of work out here, man. There's not a lot of work out here. And let's for argument's sake, let's say if there is a lot of work out here, they're not paying people enough to live a sustainable life. So when you're living in a one-bedroom apartment, and a one-bedroom apartment is damn near $1,600-$1,700, that's a lot of money, man. That's you're paying over, you could be paying over $30,000 plus a year with paying over $1,600 in just rent. Right? Now, it's a possibility that utilities could be included or not. And then if it's not, now you got to pay on top of the utility bill, phone bill, internet, right? Gas, or the mechanical work that needs to be done on your car, which they charge an arm and a leg for that. So there's a lot going on. So again, for argument's sake, if there is a lot of jobs out there, right? People don't want to work those jobs because they're just not paying enough, right? So real quick, I wanted to see what this actually said in the NIV, and then in let's see what it says in so it says, "When the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong man stoop, when the grinders cease because they are few, and those looking through the windows grow dim. Remember this before your legs, the guards of your house, start to tremble, and before your shoulders the strong man stoop. Remember him before your teeth, your few." So yeah, that's pretty much what I that's pretty much what I wanted to get. The NIV and the NLT, they're not really they sound similar, but not as close as you're gonna get to Ecclesiastes 12 and 3. So again, the grinder shall cease. So this has been happening for years now. This has been happening for years. I remember when I was just getting into the truth, there was people being laid off, not being able to get jobs or find jobs, struggling, going through it. And that's why you got homelessness here in Arizona. You got homelessness, and that's what I meant to say. I said Phoenix, Salakia, I meant Arizona. But you got homelessness at an all-time high here in Arizona. And guess what? A lot of the homeless are mostly in Phoenix. Now, you have homelessness all over the place, but it's mostly in Phoenix, because you'll find things to be a little bit more cheaper in Phoenix than you would anywhere else, right? Because you don't keep prices at a low and you don't keep prices at a low in neighborhoods where, you know, so-called white people live, because then you'll have homeless people living in those neighborhoods because they could, you know, beg for money, go to a store and buy something for $1. Because the majority of the time, when you go and buy something, a lot of the time that shit is more than $2 to $3 at best, man. So to keep the homeless out, you raise up the prices in order to keep them out, right? And that also goes for keeping out so-called black people out of your neighborhoods. Esau will raise up the prices to keep them out of their neighborhoods. But yeah, I want to grab this real quick in the book of Matthews, the 24th chapter, and let's get the 21st verse. So the scripture says, "For then shall be great tribulation." That's what's coming, you know, because with these people, you know, getting laid off, losing their jobs, now you either got to go work in a warehouse, or you got to, you know, get into a company that's willing to pay you enough. You could get into diesel driving, but, you know, look what's going on with that, you know, with the gas prices fluctuating, and they're having problems being able to transport goods from one state to another. You got businesses closing down, and they're not paying their truck drivers. So what truck drivers are doing? They're walking away from truck driving. And there's actually a YouTube page you can go to. I believe it's called Truckers or something like that. But on that YouTube page, he talks a lot about why truckers are leaving, why a lot of people don't want to get into the trucking business. There's a lot of things going on, man. You know, there's a lot of things going on with these jobs is the reason why people don't want to get into these businesses. Like, I was watching a video where it talked about Gen Z, and they were saying how lazy Gen Z was. No, the thing is that Gen Z is not playing games like who they would call the millennials. Now, the millennials will be counted as, you know, like my age. Like, and what happens is with the millennials is because, or what they call the millennials, is because, you know, you be so afraid to say anything about raises or getting promoted or anything like that. You be so afraid of talking about getting a raise, because why? You think they're gonna let you go. The Gen Z, they don't care about that, man. They'll protest and do all sorts of things to get what they believe they should be getting paid. So it ain't that Gen Z is lazy, because Gen Z is working in your McDonald's. They're working at your In-N-Out burgers. They're working at your Whataburgers. They're working at your Walmarts. They're working in your Fry's, your Food Cities. They're working there. You walk up in there, you can see Gen Z all up and through these places. But guess what? What's happening is that a lot of the Gen Zs are leaving these jobs because they not paying enough. So Gen Z isn't playing that, they not paying that game. So it's not like they lazy, they just want to get paid for the work. And so what companies are doing, since, you know, they don't want to pay out that money, because there was a little small protest that happened in Amazon where the delivery drivers wanted to get paid like $30 an hour. And they was talking about how they was, you know, being treated like, you know, shit, excuse my language, and that they wanted $30 an hour. They wanted $30 an hour. And that's what Gen Z is reaching for. They're reaching for those high paying jobs, man, $26 to $30 an hour, man. So what's happening is that companies can't pay that. So if companies cannot get employees to come work at the company, then guess what? They can't get the material off the shelves, because if the people are coming in to buy this shit, but they can't check it out because there's no employees at the cash register, then these people are putting the material back and they're walking out of the stores, and then guess what? They got to close down the stores. So there's all sorts of things happening right now here in America where, you know, this is affecting this is affecting people's lives and causing a financial crisis. But we know through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Shai that the elites are causing these things to happen because they want to crash the damn dollar. This is why the dollar is becoming more and more devalued. I remember reading an article how Russia was using about 75% of the U.S. currency, and now they're only using 20%. And I believe I brought this up like a few weeks ago. So being that the dollar is becoming devalued and everybody moving to their own currency or this digital currency that's coming real soon, look, you're going to be working, and when you work and you get that paycheck, and you're going to find out that that paycheck isn't enough to pay your rent, your car note, your phone bill, your internet, or whatever you're trying to do. Maybe it might get you a couple groceries, or maybe you pay a couple bill or two, but it won't be enough. Because you still got to feed your family. You still got to feed your kids if you have them. You still got to get gas. You still got to put money towards insurance. You still got to put money towards getting your car fixed or whatever. You still got to do all these things. But guess what? You don't have the fucking money to do them. And when you try to save, there's always something that gets in the way from you actually being able to save money. So people are going through it right now, man. People are catching hell because they do not have the money to afford anything. They don't have the money to afford a lot of shit. That's why even with what you call them Salakia. I'm not homeowners, they call them landlords. So these landlords that's renting out homes, they got to lower the prices on their homes because people aren't moving in them. People aren't moving in their homes because they can't afford them. So what? You see more apartments going up. More apartments are going up. More people are moving into an apartment because you could you could get an apartment for $1,600. But you go move into a house can cost you up to $2,000 to $2,100 just to stay up in there. And now what? They're lowering their prices from $2,100 to now $1,600 because they can't get no fucking body to move in their homes. And again, excuse my language, but they can't get nobody to move in their homes. People could barely even afford the apartments that they're living in, man. And now in these days, you need two people to live in a house in order to stay in the house, man. I don't remember who I heard this from, but I remember a dude said, damn, man, I need me a damn girlfriend to he said I need me a damn girlfriend